All right. Daryl, do you want to
Yeah.
start us off?
All right. All right. Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you all again. And for those who's attending this for the first time, welcome to VIAZARA's Changemaker Circle Retreat Leaders Networking Call. So we're very excited to be back and just have a great event. Before we begin, we'll have like a short meditation session from our speaker, Miss Sheri Rosenthal.
All right. Would you like me to start that now?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
please. Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, if everyone could just relax and let's sink into this. And I want to start with Mother, Father, Spirit, ancestors, guardian angels, and all those who watch over us. Thank you for the opportunity today to come together in community and share and grow together. And thank you and blessings to Ron, who has created the platform and space for all of us to gather and share in. So take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and listen into these affirmations as we open our time together. I am a powerful retreat leader. I am beautiful, capable, and lovable. I am valuable. I love myself unconditionally and nurture myself in every way. I trust my inner guidance. I start each day with enthusiasm, eager to act. I am successful and life is effortless and easy. The universe supports my process and my success. Abundance is present for me here and now. I have abundance in friends, money, creativity, and love. I am open to the love, devotion, and respect of others. I am attracted only to those relationships that are open, honest, and healthy for me. All my relationships are based on integrity and respect. I maintain healthy boundaries in all my relationships. I am surrounded by loving, supportive, and positive people. I relate easily to people in all kinds of situations. I take care of my physical body. I am kind to it and feed it well. I am creative and open to new ideas. I meet in harmony with my positive-minded VIAZARA community members to mastermind my goals. I am resourceful and have all the abilities I need to succeed. I love challenges and learn from every situation. I live every day with power and passion. I am a timeless being, aware and without boundaries. I am part of the ocean of consciousness. I am in everything and everything is in me. I have no shape and no name, and before all beginnings and after all endings, I am love itself, and so it is. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you for those beautiful words and intentions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
you.
So just want to confirm, Daryl, this is now being recorded, right? I didn't.
Yep, it is recording.
Okay, great. Well, welcome everyone to the Change Makers Circle. VIAZARA is here to support you in creating transformative experiences that empower people to live their best lives. Thank you, Sheri, for being here, for all that you do for this industry. It's really because of you that we're doing this, in my opinion. For me, it's a major inspiration. Thank you for those wise words and setting our intentions. So this is our 1 year anniversary since we started this, embarked on this journey. I really want to say a heartfelt shout out to all of our incredible members, and especially all the individuals that are volunteering their time to helping VIAZARA grow and thrive. We certainly could not do this without all of your support. If you haven't yet created your profile on our new online community that was launched 2 weeks ago, and I apologize, we have to actually do it again. There were so many people that set it up on the first one, but we have to go through the process of setting up another one. Simply visit viazara.org and become a new member to sign up. Very simple, straightforward. You'll find an extremely supportive community, people that are really there to share, inspire, connect, and collaborate. And we're all in this together. So again, as I mentioned, so we can all do our best to empower people to live their best lives. So our goal is to reach 10,000 members by April 2026. And we want 30% of those members to be seekers. So we have a lot of things that we're planning to get there. We're actually going to outline those steps in our town hall meeting, which is scheduled for April 24th. So I hope all of you can attend. In the meantime, we're going to have a little contest between now and the town, and now in the next Changemaker Circle, asking our members to bring in their friends into the community, and the 3 members that bring in the most member friends, we're going to have Amazon gift cards for them. So we'll look forward to seeing all of the new members. I figure right now we've got about 100. If each member brought in 4 or more members, we can be at about 500 or 600 new members, and that would be amazing start. So the other thing I just wanted to say, and this is really important, is that we're able to do what we're doing because of the generous sponsorships that we have. I'll be posting this information, and you'll see it coming through the feeds of all of our sponsors. They include vendors, service providers like Sheri, who provides training and retreats. We have all kinds of services. We're going to offer products. Basically, look for any opportunity to support the sponsors, because they in turn are supporting us. So really appreciate their generosity. And also we have some pretty amazing venues and service providers working with us. So not hard to support them. So with that, I'm going to turn it over. Again, I thank everybody for being here and look forward to a really insightful conversation around really an important topic that we all must really pay close attention to, which is risk management, legalities associated with the retreats. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Sheri.
Thank you. I was wondering, Ron, are we having a poll?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead and put up the poll.
Yeah, because I'm curious as to where people are. So maybe everyone can answer that poll, and let's see what everybody says. Can everyone see the poll okay? Should have popped up for you? All right. What legal aspect of retreat planning concerns you the most? Let us know. All right. So, Daryl, you just interrupt me when that poll is completed. So I want to start out by saying welcome, everybody. We're going to be talking about retreat legalities, protecting yourself and your business. Um, I'd like to give you a little background on me so you understand where I'm coming from in this whole conversation. And the way that I got involved with retreats was many years ago. Actually, I used to be a podiatrist and I ran a surgical residency program and I practiced for 18 years. And then I knew it was time for me to move on and have a new adventure in my life. So I sold my practice. My parents practically died. My sister didn't talk to me for a year, as you guys can imagine. And I put that practice up for sale, not knowing what I was going to do. And then I found out about a retreat that Don Miguel Ruiz was doing, the author of The Four Agreements. How many people have read that book? I'm just curious. Give me an emoji in the chat if you've read it. So I went on this retreat with him. I had never gone on a retreat before, and it literally changed my life in so many ways. It was really remarkable. And I just took a chance going because, like I said, I'd never gone on one before. I figured the worst case is I'd sit on a pyramid and cry, like whatever, or eat a taco or something. So the fact that it was life-changing was just incredible for me. Because of that retreat, I ended up studying with him for over 8 years, and I ran his business for 2 of those years and ran and designed all of his retreats. So that's how I got learning this. And then in 2023, I started teaching the Four Agreements, and I also opened my travel agency, Journeys of the Spirit, so that I could run my retreats legally. Because my corporation was in Florida, and Florida is a seller of travel state. And we'll be talking a little bit about that today. But I started also managing other people's retreats, helping them plan them and managing them. We've been doing that since 2023 and have probably done way over 1,000 retreats. And then in 2014, I started Wanderlust Entrepreneur, and I have been training retreat leaders how to, design, price, promote, and monetize their retreats and do it legally. And we've trained like over 15,000 people now. So we really have been out there doing our thing. And I can't think of anything that I would love more than what I'm doing right now. So it's been an evolutionary process, and I'm grateful to be here with all of you sharing this information because it's really important. So for me, physicians are always really keen on being protected legally. So that kind of carried over to when I started doing my retreat business. Now, I do want to say this as a disclaimer. I am not a lawyer. I'm a foot doctor. However, I've been in this business a long time, and I have a lot of things I want to share with you guys, and I encourage you to connect with your lawyer to confirm everything I'm saying today, okay? This is important. Thank you for the results, Daryl. I really appreciate that. So here's the thing. Most people, when they think of retreats, they get so excited about everything they're going to do and share with their participants and all the transformation and the difference that it's going to make in their life. They kind of put to the wayside all the legalities. And legalities are important. When you start getting through like 1,000 retreats like we have, you start seeing problems. Okay. And excuse me, I'm not saying that to scare anyone because that's not my vibe at all. I'm saying it because I want you guys to be protected. I mean, people could have anaphylactic shock. They could, get stung by a bee. They could fall and break a leg. I had that on one of my retreats. They could be a problem with a guide, like has sex with one of your participants. You could have participants that act up. I mean, there are so many things that can happen. And we need to be aware of these things and make sure that we're properly protected against these things. That way we focus where we want to focus, which is on transformation and not on legalities. So that's why it's important to put them in place. Know that you did your due diligence, you dotted your I's, you crossed your T's, and you're good to go. All right. So that is where I'm coming from with all of this. All right. So let's start out talking a little bit about some proactive measures that you can do in your business. So when we talk about protecting ourselves against lawsuits, the first thing we think about are legal forms, right? Legal forms are critical, and all of you should have those agreements from every single participant. If you don't have legal agreements for your retreats, you need to. Okay. And I don't mean a simple waiver. So sometimes people have like a few sentences and, or something short, like a paragraph long. I don't feel that's appropriate anymore. Our legal forms, for example, for out of country retreats are now like 6 pages long. And I know you might think that is excessive, but I can tell you it is not. All right. So very, very important for you guys to have legal forms first and foremost. Now, you also want to have insurance, because if you ever got sued, it's great to have the legal agreements because your insurance would supply the lawyer who would defend you using your legal contracts. That's why it's important to have the insurance, so you have a lawyer available and that you have the legal agreements that the lawyer is going to use to defend you in the case that there is a suit. Okay? So those are very, very important. And also very important is establishing a clear refund and cancellation policy on your trip page. So that is important also. Those things, if you have the legal forms and you have the insurance and you have clear cancellation policies posted, that actually deals with a lot of the situations we have on an everyday basis with our retreats. Okay. Now, in reference to the way that we speak and connect to people, this is very important too. Sometimes when someone comes at us and is upset, we get emotional. And when you are dealing with people who are unhappy, you definitely want to practice the second agreement, which is don't take anything personally. You want to be in a neutral emotional place. And I think one of the best ways when you're communicating with people is how they tell you to do it in therapy when you're working with your partner, to first acknowledge what that person is upset about and say, I hear you saying this and I understand, and then be able to address that grievance. And you definitely, definitely want to be calm when you are dealing with people. It just is critical. If you get emotional, people are going to get more emotional. So you always want to keep your center and stay in your power and be very clear and kind when you speak to people. Okay. You also want to document everything having to do with your retreat. Okay. So whatever communications you have with people, it might not be a bad idea to do it on Zoom and record all your conversations. If you have email going back and forth, please save those. Whatever you have, keep everything documented well, and that way you have transparency and accountability. Okay, that right there will help you with a lot of things. One thing I do want to say, you know, I think it's very important when you're trying to sell a retreat to have a retreat sales page, because you are selling something that's probably pricey, and you want to have all the information on that page, as well as a place that answers their concerns and objections, which is what we have sales pages for. I want you guys to make sure that you have your cancellation policy on your trip page before you take a deposit from somebody. The reason is, if you have like a pay your deposit now on your trip page, and then you send them your cancellation policy, that can be considered deceptive marketing. So you want to make sure, like for me, example, I have on my trip page my cancellation policy. When they hit that button and they go to my payment page, it has the cancellation policy, and they have to check the box that says they've read the cancellation policy before they pay. And then when they pay, the confirmation email has the cancellation policy on it. That's triple showing of that policy. All right, very important. How many people have a cancellation policy on their payment or on the trip page itself? Let me know in the chat. Let's just take a quick look. Okay, Janelle does. Alexandra. Okay, very good. Nicoletta, yes. Okay, I'm getting yeses. Okay, excellent, excellent, excellent. Wangari says, I do, and only because I attended your course. I love you. Okay, very good. Now, let's talk about what you really need. So first of all, you want to have your terms and conditions. That's part of your legal forms, and a release of liability. So terms and condition, for example, has, for example, your payment policy, like when the payment is due, when the next payment is due, the cancellation policies, what's included, what's excluded. I actually also have that on my trip page. I am very into disclosing everything up front. I think that's very important. I've had too many problems over the years where people don't see something and then come back and try to get in my face. So now I have eliminated that. It's really important through your terms and conditions to set clear expectations so you avoid misunderstandings. All right. Very, very important. Now, your release of liability is protecting yourself from risks associated with the retreat itself. So, the reason you're doing this is because you want to be released from the liability of anything that could harm or hurt them, and also from your neglect. Now, I'm not saying anyone here is neglectful, but that is a key piece of a release of liability. You still want to have that in there where they are signing, they are releasing you of any liability, and also your staff, if you have helpers, should also be in that form. So your terms and conditions and release of liability is critical. All right, those are the two top things you have to have. I would not, it's funny. I used to hear all the time from people, "Oh, Sheri, I run a spiritual retreat. I don't need that. No one's going to sue me." Really? What about their family? What if something happens and someone dies? Seriously, you have to have these disclosures, and you have to have people sign them. They cannot come on my trip. I don't care who they are, what they say, or who their mother is. They ain't coming on my retreat unless they sign those legal forms. And that is it, because I've seen too many things happen on retreats. Okay. Now, the next thing, participant disclosures. On my retreats, I always gather health and psychological information. Okay. This is very important. Now, why is this important? Well, what happens if somebody goes unconscious on your trip and you have to call an ambulance and you don't know what medical conditions they have or what medications they're on? Your information could save their life. Just knowing what their medical conditions and medications are. Now, if you collect this information from somebody, being a physician, I keep that information sacred. You know, it's like HIPAA laws. No one sees that information, only me. Okay, only me. And it's disposed of by grinding in my shredder in my office. Understand? You're responsible. If you collect that information, you better be careful what you do with it. Also, it's important to have emergency preparedness. So you want to be clear with yourself if you have to use those forms, like where's the nearest hotel? What do you do if someone breaks a leg? You know, is there a doctor on staff? Talk to your retreat center and work with them and find out if someone has a problem, what's going to happen. Because I've done retreats in very, very remote places. And not only do you need to know, like, is there a doctor or is there a hotel? But what if there's a political situation that you need to be evacuated? You know, where's your nearest consulate? Or how about if you're somewhere where there's a tsunami or hurricane? What are you going to do? Who you going to call? Right? Not Ghostbusters. So you got to have this information and know this information. It should be part of what you do for every retreat. Okay? Um, There's a couple of people that are unmuted, Ron. It might help to see if we can mute them and it'll be a little quieter. Okay. Now, also what's important is if you want to have less problems with people on your retreat, you should have your own code of conduct. For example, on my legal forms, I have that in the legal forms that they have to sign, because I don't take no bullshit. And I'm a very straight up girl from Brooklyn, very spiritual, but very straight up. So no one gets in my face. So for retreats, this is a good idea to discuss not when you get to the retreat, but before. I think it's great to have a couple of before the retreat get-togethers so people can share and talk about what they're coming on the retreat for and what they hope to get out of it, and to talk about the location they're going to. Are there rules? Are there things that they need to know? And just talking about how we communicate with each other. Maybe you're going to use a talking stick when you have a circle on your retreat, or maybe you're going to have what happens if someone's upset. Should they come to you privately? Should they go to your assistant? Like, the clearer you are with your own rules, the better off you'll be, the less problems you'll have. Okay? Let me know if all of this makes sense. Let me know in the chat, because this is what I would say in general about the legalities, the legal forms, and information you should have taken care of before your retreat. Okay? Jerome says, great stuff. Princess Palm Tree says, yes, it does. Edie says, very clear and helpful. Nicoletta says, totally agree. And the Allison says, yes, seems like common sense, but it needs repeating. Yeah, we all need to be reminded. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Very, very good. Now, Sarah says, to be clear, is this only after they sign up? Well, I have the cancellation policy and some basic things like what's included and what's not on my trip page. So I do have that on there. But once they sign up, yes, then you want to give them your legal forms and all of that. So let's talk about insurance because that's the next subject on the list. So why is insurance essential? Well, basically, because of what I said earlier, you want to have a lawyer to defend you should you need defending. Okay, so that is important. You never know what happens in the world, especially these days, and you want to be protected. So let's talk about the kinds of insurance because there's so much insurance in there. What do you need and what should you get? So, first and foremost, for anything that comes out of your mouth, for your coaching, your teaching, whatever it is you do, that would be like in the United States, we call that professional and general liability insurance. It's normally packaged together, you don't really get them separate. So that protects you in case someone says to you, you know what? I came on your retreat and you told me to drink those shakes. I lost 40 pounds and now I'm feeling sick. Okay, that was from your advice. So that's that kind of situation where professional liability insurance helps. General liability insurance is if you had a client, for example, come to meet you and they fell while you were working with them or at your property. So that's what general liability insurance is. And that would cover you, for example, if you did a retreat at, um, like a little meeting place in your town and you someone fell on the property. So the venue would have their own insurance and you would have your insurance too. And if they wanted to, they would probably sue the both of you. So that's professional and general liability insurance. And then there's also tour operator insurance. Now, because of seller of travel law, which we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes, retreats are considered travel packages. Because of that, the only insurance that really covers a retreat properly, one that has, let's say, activities that go off grounds, is tour operator insurance because you are running a tour. All right, that is something very important to understand. You can try to get insurance on your retreat and you probably won't. If you ask for retreat insurance, there really isn't such a thing. So tour operator insurance is really the proper insurance. And that's what I have through my travel company, which is why I became a travel company. I was doing 5 retreats a year. That's a lot. And I wanted to insure myself. Now, there is event insurance, and that is like if you were doing a retreat at a location and you were not leaving the premises, you could do event insurance, but they cover different things. So you really want to be clear on the difference between event insurance, a one-time insurance for a retreat, versus tour operator insurance, because there is a difference. Once you leave the premises of the event, you are no longer covered. And that is a problem. The next type of insurance is travel insurance for the participants. It's 2025, y'all. Every one of your participants needs travel cancellation insurance. You should not let them on your trip unless they have that policy. Why? Because if they cancel, that's what their insurance is for. They don't have to come knocking on your door saying, oh, yeah, I read the cancellation policy. It said no refunds, but someone died in my family and I have to cancel. Can you give me my money back? And then they get pissed when you say no because you already paid all your vendors with that money and you can't give them their money back. They need to be taking trip cancellation insurance, okay? And nobody should come on your trip without signing legal forms and having trip cancellation insurance, period. Okay, very important. Now, those insurances are the basic ones. Now, as far as working with an insurance provider, you really need to go through and look very carefully. Different countries have different names for these insurances, but the idea of the insurance and what it covers is what's important. Okay. And as I said before, if someone sues you, you need the insurance because they supply the lawyer. And if you don't have legal forms, but you do have insurance, they can refuse to deal with you. So you paid the insurance and they won't give you a lawyer because you didn't have legal forms and they got nada to defend you with. So you must have both. Okay, this is very, very important. Okay, let's hop into seller of travel law. I know I'm going really fast, guys. I'm trying to give you like the broad spectrum here. Okay, so seller of travel law in the United States has to do with what I just said. When you put together accommodations, food, you pick people up at the airport and you take them to different activities and you have different activities, that is considered a tour. The one thing that people always say to me is, Sheri, I have nothing to do with seller of travel law. I don't book airplane flights. Seller of travel law is not really about you selling airplane flights. It's about packaging travel, okay? Meaning room, food, activities, tours, transportation to the tours, which most of us do on retreats. So it then puts us in seller of travel law. In the United States, there are 4 states that have strict seller of travel law. That's California, Florida, Hawaii, and Washington State. Because my corporation was in Florida, I became a travel agency because I wanted to protect myself in the state of Florida. If your business is in Michigan, which doesn't have seller of travel law, but you're selling to somebody in California, Hawaii, Florida, and Washington, you still need to be a seller of travel in those states. So that's what's tricky. Now, here's the thing. In the United States, do you really think they're going to hunt you down if you run a retreat and you're not a seller of travel? Probably not, because right now in this country, things are kind of crazy, and you running your retreat is probably the last thing they have on their mind to chase after. But still, the law is the law. So I have to tell you what the law is. In Canada, if I was Canadian, I would not be running a retreat if I was in BC, Quebec, or Ontario, especially Quebec and Ontario. Not as bad in BC. In Quebec and Ontario, they'll actually shut you down. You are required in Quebec and Ontario to run your retreat through a travel company. And then you can do your retreat. You just can't collect the money. The travel agency has to, and then they pay you your net at the end. So that's something my travel agency does. That's what I've been doing since 2003. A lot of people want to be covered under my insurance. So then the retreat leader becomes an independent contractor for me as a tour leader. And then I'm collecting the money and dispensing funds. Okay, so that's what you have to do in Canada. So that is basically the situation. All right. Elizabeth says, what if I'm doing local wellness retreats? The idea is to build healthy community of happy people. The participants wouldn't be driving more than an hour. Do I still need travel insurance because I'm providing food, shelter, and activities? You still have to have legal forms, Elizabeth, and you still need professional and general liability. You would want to check with your general liability to see if it'll cover your retreats that are nearby your home. Okay. Janelle says, is tour operator insurance the same as having a tour operator license? Yeah. The tour operator insurance is what tour operators and travel agencies take out. Okay. Yes. And with that, you can sell to those states. Yes. Okay. So, Edie says, what if the retreat is in Greece and we're Dutch? Okay, this all depends on where your business is located. So if your business is, I don't know where your business is, then you have to follow the law in that country. It's not where you're going. It has nothing to do with that. It's where your business is located. My business is located in Florida. I'm beholden to the laws in Florida and the United States. And I've run retreats all over the world. It doesn't matter about that. It matters about where you are and the laws you have to follow locally. Okay, so if you're in Greece, you have to follow the laws for retreats in Greece, if they have them. So that's what you want to make sure you're aware of. Okay, let's talk quickly about legal considerations for marketing and sales. First and foremost, truth in advertising, right? Please avoid misleading claims in your marketing materials. This is really important. Be real, be straight up, be clear with people in what they can expect, okay? And make sure whatever you have on your retreat sales page matches what's in your terms and conditions. All right, this is really important. Again, with your cancellation and refund policies, make sure you clearly communicate what those are. Always truth in advertising. Very, very important. And please know, even if your retreat deposit is non-refundable, you still, in the United States, you've got 3 days that people can refund. So make sure you know the bigger law in your country as far as consumers go who purchase items and things. Okay, so that is really important too. Okay. Let's just talk again very briefly on data privacy and participant confidentiality. I, again, feel like you need to be very careful with the information people give you. When stuff's going back and forth in email, make sure you're complying with data privacy laws, the whole GDPR stuff when collecting personal details, okay? And make sure you are following best practices for securing that participant data. In other words, if you're going to get a health form or mental status form, or payment information, you really can't be storing that, especially payment information. If you write down someone's credit card number, you need to shred that immediately. You cannot save that information under any circumstances. Okay, that's really important. You would want to have a clear policy on how the participant information is stored, used, and shared, if it is shared. Okay. And if you take pictures during your retreat, you must obtain explicit consent for testimonials and for taking pictures. Okay, this is critical. You cannot use a testimonial or a picture without that consent. Okay, very, very important. Next, crisis management and emergency planning. So, creating an emergency action plan, like I said earlier, very important. You might want to have an assistant and you give them all that information, what to do if someone's having a health problem, an accident, a natural disaster, or you have to evacuate. Okay, very important. And If there's an issue of any kind, make sure you deal with things professionally and calmly. Calmly. In medicine, when I went to school, we always used to say, in an emergency, take your own pulse first. And I cannot tell you how important that piece of advice really is. So much so, like, I remember I was on a boat once and the engine went on fire, and I just said, excuse me, do you know that your engine is on fire? I don't I don't get freaked out about anything. I've had too many cases in the operating room of things going crazy. So luckily I'm calm, but not all of us are calm. So you need to make sure you know what you would do in any situation so you can be calm. So for example, I took a group to Egypt once. We got to the hotel and they told us we didn't have a reservation that I paid in full for. You know, you can't freak out. You just have to say, okay, here's the receipt. It's paid in full. Can you please upgrade us all to your suites since those are not all filled up, but your rooms are? Thank you. You know, you have to know how you are going to handle a situation. So that is speed dialing legalities for all of you guys. And I would love to take a minute just to share something with all of you um, that I think would be really helpful if you guys feel like you want to know more about retreat legalities, about planning and designing retreats now for 2025, because we are in an experiential economy now in the travel industry. People want transformation, and the way we do retreats needs to shift. So we'll be talking a lot about that and pricing and promoting and monetizing. We have our 5th annual Rock Your Profitable Sold Out Retreat online event coming up. There it is. It's May 6th through the 8th. It is so much fun. Last year we had 5,300 retreat leaders, planners, travel professionals, venues. It was freaking awesome. I don't know how else to say it. I'd love to invite you guys to come. You're going to learn a lot. It's 20 plus hours of content, and it is a pay what you want event. And we do this very specifically for our retreat community so everyone can come and benefit. So you can pay $1, you can pay $10, you could pay what you want. If you want to come, but the dates don't work for you, if you pay $297, you will get it, the whole event, forever access. Okay, because some people, they feel like the timing is not good for them. We will have replays from May 6th to the 16th. They're on our program platform, so it's beautifully presented. You can listen to the replays. For example, like if you're in Hawaii and it's early for you, you can sleep through the first 2 presentations for the day, come live for the second 2, and listen to the replays for the first and second one. It's going to be online. This is a live online training event, the 6th through the 8th. And then we also have some bonus sessions too. And Ron has a special link for you guys. That page has all the information about the event. It is truly a wonderful place to meet people and have fun. You are going to learn a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. I love training people. I love sharing this kind of information with people. And it's going to answer so many questions. Like, for example, if you're running retreats and you're having trouble filling them, I will be going over retreat marketing, very heavy into retreat marketing. So it's definitely worth your time. I have, let me just share my screen for a second. If you don't mind, thank you. So I'm just going to share the program. This is what the program looks like, guys. So again, it's the 6th, 7th, and 8th. We start at 11 a.m. We go to 5 p.m. So for example, first session is Retreat Trends 2025, how to stay ahead in a competitive market. We have how to attract the right retreat peeps and repel the wrong ones, positioning your retreat for maximum bookings. This 4th session on each day, we have different retreat leaders sharing their experiences, what they did wrong, what they did right. And it's really, these sessions are fun. They're Q&A sessions. We have retreat legalities, the Smart Retreat Leaders Guide to Profitable Pricing. We talk about how to make money year round using your retreats. We talk about how to pick locations and venues. We talk about high converting sales pages for your retreats, using reverse engineering to fill your retreats. And then on Saturday and Monday, I do a webinar presentation that sums all of this information up so that it becomes really clear and concise. So this is the same presentation done 2 different times. And then we have a final bonus session on the 13th, which is from 0 to sold out top strategies for a fully booked retreat. So you're really getting a lot of information here. Totally pay what you wish. So I really hope to see you guys there because it's going to be insane. It's insane. It's the 5th year. I've done it already 4 times and it's been insane every year. So we'd love to have you. Now, I'd love to answer some questions. Ron, do I have time to answer some questions?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. If you guys then have some questions about anything I said or about the event itself, please let me know. And Ron, tell me when I'm done, because I
Okay.
know we're having a breakout on this.
Yeah, we have about 5 minutes before the breakout.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So
Yeah.
let's have some questions.
Can I speak and ask the question, or do you want me to type
No,
it?
Janelle. It's
Hi.
Janelle.
Yes,
Hi.
hi. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for all this
Yeah.
information.
Yeah. What
Um,
can I answer?
I'm really like pinpointing, I'm like in the tour operator insurance thing because this is something I've researched. I did ask my lawyer about it too, because I worked for a company that did retreats and they had a license. And so I know all about it, but I'm having a hard time getting it. Like, do I have to fill out a form? Is there a
Okay,
provider?
what are you having trouble getting? Be specific.
Well, first of all, I had a hard time figuring out if I needed it, but now I know. And is it something I just purchase, or do I have to apply to get an ID? Like, I don't know where to go to get it.
Okay, I'm not sure. See, I'm asking you
Okay.
again, what are you trying to get? Are
For
you
operator
trying to,
insurance.
okay,
So that I can sell these packages to those different states and not get,
okay. What state are you in?
I'm in Connecticut.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would happen is you still have to, you should get in your state to
I will.
sell,
Yeah, I need it.
to sell travel.
Yeah.
Then you have to contact one of the companies that sells tour operator insurance. So Aon is one of them.
Aon?
But
Okay.
all you have to do is Google
Okay.
tour operator insurance US,
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
they're going to come up. So
Perfect.
then what's going to happen is you'll probably have to fill out an application and ask, and they'll probably ask you how much you're making. And if you haven't started your business yet, you can tell them 0, and they're going to charge you the lowest amount that the package has. And you can choose between 1 million, 2 million, 3 million of insurance. So it's whatever you want to take and pay for.
Okay. Thank you. And that,
And they're going to they may want to see your legal forms.
yeah, that's okay. That's fine. Yeah, I have those. But the health, outtake or whatever, the health information, is that something, how do you make that so it's secure? I'm just curious. Is that something I would have in my sales? Like I use my platform, like I don't understand how that to really let them, the participant know that this data is secure, like, and just coming to me only. Is that something I
Then
asked my lawyer
y-
about or?
you just have to be clear about what you're doing with it. I don't know what you're
Okay,
doing with it. So you just have to
okay,
say, storing it on my computer. Well, what
okay,
if your computer got hacked? So are you printing it out and keeping it in a lockbox in your house? Like what you have to know what you're doing with that information
okay.
in case somebody asks, right?
All right.
So
Thank you very
good,
much.
good questions.
Barry, I have
Okay,
a follow-up to Janelle's question.
sure.
Is there kind of a typical cost of what this tour operator insurance might cost so that people know if I'm paying too much?
Yeah, so for me, I've taken this insurance for a very long time, and I've had Aon for a very long time and no suits. So I think it cost me for a year, like I have $2 million of insurance, and it cost me under $2,000 a year. But it's best when you have multiple retreats. Now, I'm covering a lot of things because we're running retreats through my business. So, I don't know what the lowest amount is, but it could be like 1,000 or 900 or something. And then if you get that insurance, run a few retreats and make it worth it because you're covered for it.
Okay, so that it kind of answers my second question. It's per year, not per event or per tour.
Right, because it's not event insurance, which is
Mhm.
per event. But I think if I was doing a retreat at a retreat center that I wasn't leaving, it's probably easier just to get event insurance. It's not going to cover all the things that tour operator insurance covers, but enough. And when you combine that with your professional and general liability insurance, you are probably fine. It's
Yeah,
like as soon as you leave the country, your general liability insurance no longer covers you, and you probably can't get um, event insurance. That's what becomes a problem. Like once you leave the US.
yeah, I wonder if maybe VIAZARA can use its collective bargaining power to try to get a member rate.
That would be really good. And then you and I should talk because I
Yeah,
think I know someone that might do that for
okay.
the community.
Yeah, for the community.
Yeah, so let's talk about
Okay,
that.
okay.
I got a
That would
question.
be yes.
I got a question. Harris.
Yes, Harris.
So most of what you've been talking about is geared towards retreat leaders. I'm a retreat venue. I'm a private estate. So I'm curious what would be required. So just so you know, is my customer is the retreat leader. They book
Of
our
course.
standard, terms and conditions, shows the cancellation policies and everything like that. Very personalized service. We don't really book, we wouldn't book a retreat for a retreat leader unless they actually came and visit us. So, we're going to be very personalized in that sense because we want to make sure who the retreat leader is. And then, of course, we make the retreat leader purchase event insurance.
Okay.
And of course, we have all the other, business liability insurance and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
just curious, what else would want to add to that?
So for you, you should make sure the retreat leader who's doing their event at your place, I'm assuming you're in the US, right? Okay. So then I would not let a retreat leader come to my venue if they didn't have professional and general liability insurance because you want them to be the first one sued if something happened, and then you would be second.
Understand. Have
You
a little
know.
history in the insurance industry.
All right. So you
Um,
know.
Yeah. I mean,
And legal forms. I
Mm.
would make sure that that retreat leader had their people signing legal forms.
sure. Just a quick question and a follow-up. Do you have like a list of all these things that, so I can like have a checklist to make sure I go to the retreat leader and say, hey, do you have this, and this?
I don't have like a checklist
Mm.
per se out there. We have it like, for example, I have a course that we teach that we're known for, the Retreat Blueprint program, and there's an entire module in the course on legalities and all of that. So most of the students follow that. I've never really, for the public, made like a checklist before.
Ron, there you go. Something for you
Okay,
to
thank you.
get a
Okay,
checklist.
thank you, Harris. I think
But
one
it's a
thing I'd
good
like,
idea. I should do that. Thank you, Harris.
Can I ask
yeah,
one more question?
I'll
Sorry.
go for it.
All right, this came up because I do produce retreats for other fitness professionals in their communities as well. So I have the waiver that I have everyone sign, and I had the retreat leader sign it as well, the liability waiver. And his question to me was, how is he being covered? Which was, I didn't really know how to because that waiver was really covering me and my business. So I wasn't sure how to answer that other than him having his own, teaching, right, insurance. So what is the answer for that?
The answer is he needs to get his own insurance. You need to be
Like a
insured.
tort? What kind though? Because he has the general liability, like to actually come on the retreat and
Is
teach.
the retreat in the country or
No,
out of the
out
country?
of country.
He needs tour operating insurance.
Really?
This is the only insurance that covers a retreat out of the country. If you're a US based business. I mean, what else is going to cover you? There's nothing else.
So he has
Event
to spend
insurance,
he has to spend like $2,000 to just come teach us
well,
retreat
not
for 2,000?
2,000. It's based on income, of your business. So it probably would be much lower, but think about it. That's why most retreat leaders go without insurance. I'm trying to up level the industry.
No, I
That's
understand. Yeah. But so from a business, while you're running retreats for other leaders, you tell them to purchase tour operator insurance?
no, they're running it through my
That's
business.
what they're
I'm a
doing with me. They're doing that with me too. He asked me, I had him sign the waiver. He's the instructor. He's running it through me.
Okay, so do you have tour operator
Well, I'm getting it
insurance?
now.
All right.
So then
Okay,
he's
so
covered. Okay.
yes, but you have to then sign an independent contractor
Oh, I do have
agreement
that.
with
Yeah.
him that he is leading a tour for your
Yeah.
company and you have to collect the money. He cannot touch 1 cent.
Yeah. I have that. Thank you. The only thing I'm missing is the tour operator. So thank you so much. Okay.
Perfect, Janelle.
Okay,
Excellent.
all right.
All right, Ron, are we going into our groups?
Let's do the breakout rooms where we're going to talk about what's the biggest liability concern that you have. Uh, so Jenna, Daryl, you want to take that away?
Yep. All right. So thank you, Sherry, for that very, very insightful session. And again, we're very excited for your event. We dropped on the chat messages the link for you to register. So now we'll move on to the breakout rooms. So during the breakout room, please introduce yourself and share about your retreat program and answer this question. What's your biggest liability concern when running a retreat? Now, when we return to the main room, each group will have one representative and share their key takeaways, including the two most important legal considerations you've identified for running a retreat. So we have about 20 minutes to connect and exchange insights with approximately about 2 minutes allocated per person. So, all right, we'll begin the breakout session now.
All right, so we're back. Looks like we have about 10 more minutes. Who would like to volunteer for their group to talk about the biggest liability concern, or top 2 concerns? Anyone?
All right, I'll give it a go.
Oh, go for it.
All right, it was with Allison and Eden. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your names. I have a beautiful catamaran in Greece and starting their own
Remco and Letitia.
food company. So yes, for the couple that's running the retreats and on their catamaran that they just purchased in Greece, it's more about just, they're still setting up the business, so making sure that they have all the legal documents required to run this business legally and successfully. And then for Allison, who's been leading retreats, I don't know, you do about 30 a year, 30, there was 30 in there somewhere, 30 years, something like that. She's her biggest concern, and I don't think it's happened yet, it's just people getting hurt, and she just getting injured, and it's more of, I think, a block, like her mind, right? She feels kind of consumed by it. So it's more of a, a little bit of a block there. Hopefully I got that right.
Yeah, I just want to be clear. I don't do 30 retreats a year. That doesn't happen.
You've been in fitness for 30 years.
Correct,
Fitness
that's
30
correct.
years. Yeah, I take.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, no, I
Sorry.
gotta lose. Yeah.
And for me, my answer was really, for me, my biggest thing I did talk about was just being, I've had on 2 different retreats, when I sent out the survey, the response has been to take the reins. So I think the part of me that wants to be super hospitable and take care of everyone in a way sometimes, I guess, comes across as like a pushover because there's always that one dominant person in the retreat that I'm trying to cater to, and perhaps, as Allison said, take them aside and just be like, and I hear you, and this is what's going on, and let's move on. It's about the group at the end of the day.
All right. Anyone else like to share? I guess what I came away with is that I think we can help as an association really provide more guidance in this area. So sure, maybe I can really talk about how we can help the members.
Hang on. I'm sorry, Ron. What are you asking me?
Oh no, I was just saying what I came away with is that there
Oh,
are a lot of questions, and what we can do with the association is create more guidance along this area.
yeah.
It's good. Awesome. Cool. Anyone else like to share?
Well, Ron, I was on a call with me and Paul, who also has a retreat venue, and Vandana. So it turns out Vandana lives like an hour away from Cherry Valley and runs retreats in Temecula. So I guess the thing is just reiterating the fact of the types of insurance that I, as a retreat venue, would require from her. Invent insurance, and usually retreat leaders have their own businesses or incorporated, which is what I prefer to see. And then, of course, they can assign their insurance policies over to us as an additional insured, and that really covers me. And then, of course, verifying that the retreat leader has put together all the necessary agreements, packages, contracts to protect me.
Yeah. One of the other things I wanted to mention is in our community, we have a retreat leader mastermind group that is one of the threads. So you'll be able to ask questions and correspond with each other in that thread as well, to continue this conversation. And yeah, it's great. Thank you very much. I think we're kind of running out of time here, so maybe a couple more thoughts before we go. Anybody else would like to share?
I would love to see everyone at the live event online. I
Yes.
think they would learn a lot and feel a lot calmer and more secure about a lot of things, like their marketing and how to make that go smoothly, and just all of the aspects of putting yourself out there these days.
Yeah, I attended it last year, and I'll tell you what, it was such an education. I was there from the minute it started to the minute it ended, and I was taking copious notes and so many great questions. And you just provided, and also you brought some amazing guest speakers along the way too, that gave some really great insights and tips. It was just like the best time you could spend if you're
Thank
interested in really increasing your ability in this area. So I highly recommend it.
A lot of marketing
Yeah,
advice.
a lot of marketing, a lot of time spent on sales page, identifying your ideal client, how to speak to that group, so they really understand this retreat is for them. Just a lot of great information.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank-
yeah. Well, great. With that, I'll say thank you. Please, everybody, go to viazara.org and go to become a member, come into the community, and look forward to welcoming everybody there. And thank you very much for your participation. Really appreciate it. And have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Sheri. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ron, for having
Amazing
me on.
job as usual.
Thank you, everyone.
Per the expectation, absolutely wonderful. Did a great job. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
No
you.
more day left here, by the way.
All right. Talk to you later. Good
Thank
seeing
you.
everybody.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Thank you.